Hello. Welcome back. Let's just sit here for a moment before we go anywhere. No rush. No need to do anything yet. Today we are talking about mornings. Not the kind where you wake up already stressed about what's waiting for you, but the kind where you actually feel like you have a say in how things go. Most people open their eyes and fall straight into old patterns without even noticing. The hand goes to the phone. The mind starts spinning. The body moves on autopilot. And by the time they walk out the door, they are already running low on energy, patience, or both. But the people who seem to move through life with more ease and clarity, they don't leave the first hour to chance. They build something small into that hour that quietly shifts everything that follows. So here is a question worth sitting with. What if the first 60 minutes of your day shaped more than you ever realized? Let's walk through 7 shifts that change how mornings feel, and over time, change how you feel moving through the world. Habit 1. They wake up before the rush. There is a kind of quiet that exists before most people are awake. It is not just the absence of noise. It is a different quality of time. No cars rushing by, no phones buzzing, no one asking for anything, no one expecting an answer. That space belongs only to you. People who carry a sense of steadiness through their days understand this deeply. They choose to step into that space before the world starts demanding things. Not because they hate sleep, not because they want to post about it online, but because they know that the first moments of the day set a tone that is almost impossible to change later if you miss them. Let's be honest about what usually happens when the alarm goes off. You hear it, you reach out, you turn it off, then you turn over. A few minutes later, it goes off again. Snooze. Again. And again. By the time you finally get up, there's a subtle but real feeling of being behind. The day started without you. You are already trying to catch up. That feeling does not go away when you leave the bedroom. It stays in your shoulders. It stays in your breath. It colors the way you speak to people. It makes small delays feel like bigger problems. You are reacting from the very first moment, and that reactive energy follows you. Successful people avoid this by doing one thing differently. They decide the night before. This is not complicated, but most people skip it. They pick a time to wake up, and they stick to it. They prepare something simple. Clothes laid out, a glass already on the counter, a reason to get up that is not just obligation. When morning comes, the alarm is not a battle. It is just a signal. And those first 20 or 30 minutes, the ones most people lose to half sleep and snooze button guilt, become something else entirely. They become yours. You can sit with a glass of water. You can watch the sky change color. You can hear your own thoughts before anyone else's voice fills your head. That is not a small luxury. That is a quiet form of power. Think about what that does to the rest of your day. When you start from a place of calm, you respond to stress differently. A delayed train does not ruin your mood. An unexpected task does not feel overwhelming. Someone being difficult does not pull you off balance as easily. You have already given yourself something that no one can take away. Time that was fully yours. Time when you were not reacting to anyone. That feeling stays with you, even when things get busy. And over time, waking up early stops being something you force yourself to do. It becomes something you look forward to. because it is the only part of the day that belongs entirely to you. One more thing. You do not have to wake up at 4 in the morning. You do not have to become a different person overnight. Even 15 minutes earlier than usual makes a difference. The goal is not to lose sleep. The goal is to gain a moment of calm before the rush begins. Start there. See what 15 minutes of quiet gives you. Most people find that it gives them more than they expected. Habit 2. They do not reach for the phone. There is a moment right after waking that is more fragile than we realize. Your mind is still soft. It has not yet put up its defenses. It is open, impressionable, ready to absorb whatever comes first. In that moment, whatever you let in will shape your mood, your energy, and your focus for hours. For most people, that moment is filled with a screen. They open their eyes, and before they have even stretched or sat up, they are reading words from someone else. A message that creates a small spike of anxiety. A headline designed to grab attention. A notification that steals focus before they have given any to themselves. People who maintain steady energy and clear thinking throughout the day protect that fragile moment. They put the phone somewhere out of reach before they go to sleep. Not because they are trying to be extreme or anti-technology, because they know a simple truth. If the phone is next to them, their hand will find it. It is not a failure of willpower. It is design. The phone is designed to win that battle. So they change the design. They make it just hard enough that they have to get up, walk, or reach across the room to check it. And in that small delay, the act of standing, moving, breathing, something important shifts. They are no longer passive. They are choosing. They are deciding when to enter the digital world instead of being pulled into it while still half asleep. Here is what else happens when you delay the screen. You give yourself time to remember that you exist outside of other people's demands. You notice the light coming through the window. You feel the floor under your feet. You hear the quiet, or the birds, or the rain. You might notice that your shoulders are tight, or that you feel rested, or that you had a dream you want to remember. That might sound simple, but it is actually rare. Most people spend their entire day moving from one screen to another, never really landing in their own body. The morning is the best chance to change that. Just 10 minutes without a screen can reset your nervous system. You start from a place of being present, not reacting. And that changes how you carry yourself into everything else. Let's go a little deeper. There is a hidden cost to checking your phone first thing that most people do not think about. When you wake up and immediately see emails, messages, and notifications, you are starting your day in a state of response. You are responding to other people's priorities. You are responding to news you cannot control. You are responding to whatever demands appeared while you slept. That state, response, is a low-energy state. You are not leading your own day. You are following. And that feeling of following tends to continue. You keep checking. You keep scrolling. You keep reacting. By the time you actually get to what matters, your attention is already scattered. Successful people treat their attention like a resource that needs protection. They know that the first hour of the day is when their attention is cleanest, sharpest, most available. They do not give it away to strangers on a screen. They keep it for themselves. They use it on their own thoughts, their own body, their own priorities. And when they finally do check the phone, they do it from a place of strength, not need. They are already awake, already grounded, already clear. That is the difference. And it starts with putting the phone in another room. Habit 3. They hydrate first. Let's talk about what is happening inside your body while you sleep. It is not just rest. Your body is working. Your heart is beating. Your lungs are moving. Your cells are repairing. Your brain is clearing out waste. All of that work uses fluid. By the time you wake up, you are not at zero, but you are low. Low enough that your brain, your energy, your mood, and even your digestion will all feel it if you do not replace what was lost. People who sustain focus and emotional steadiness throughout the day know this. They reach for water before anything else. Not coffee, not tea. Just water. Let's look at what usually happens. The first thing many people drink is coffee. Coffee works. It wakes you up. It gives you that familiar lift. But it also wakes up your stress response. Cortisol rises. Your heart beats a little faster. Your body enters a mild state of alertness that is useful but also slightly demanding. If you do that every morning, your body learns to start the day in a state of low-grade urgency. You feel awake, but you also feel a little on edge. Water does the opposite. It eases your system awake. It tells your body, we are safe. We are just beginning. There is no emergency. Here's a simple shift that changes everything. Drink a full glass of water first. Then wait 15 or 20 minutes before having coffee. That short window gives your body time to hydrate before you add caffeine. Your blood becomes less thick. Your brain gets the fluid it needs to function. Your energy comes up more slowly and stays more stable. People who try this often notice that they feel less jittery, less irritable, and more clear-headed in the morning. They also notice that they do not need as much coffee to feel alert. 1 cup is enough, sometimes even less. But there is another layer to this that goes beyond biology. When you drink water first thing, you are performing an act of care for yourself before you do anything for anyone else. That matters more than we usually admit. Every time you do something kind for yourself, something that says, I am worth taking care of, you send a signal to your brain. That signal builds quietly. Over days and weeks, it shapes how you see yourself. You start to see yourself as someone who makes good choices, someone who pays attention to what their body needs. And once you see yourself that way, other good choices become easier. You are not fighting yourself. You are cooperating with yourself. That is a much easier way to live. One more thought. If you struggle to remember to drink water in the morning, set it up the night before. Put a glass or a bottle next to where you sleep. Make it visible. Make it easy. The habit is not about willpower. It is about making the right thing the easy thing. When water is the first thing your hand finds in the morning, you do not have to think about it. You just do it. And that small automatic action becomes the foundation for a morning that feels more grounded. Habit 4. They move their body gently. You do not need to run. You do not need to train for anything. You do not need to prove your fitness to anyone. Movement in the morning is not about performance. It is not about burning calories. It is about waking up the conversation between your brain and your body. When you sleep, you stay still for hours. Your muscles tighten. Your joints feel stiff. Your nervous system slows down. The first movement of the day is like opening a window in a room that has been closed all night. It lets fresh energy in. It lets your body know that you are here, that you are present, that you are ready to participate in the day. Some people stretch. Some take a short walk around the block. Some stand in their kitchen and roll their shoulders while waiting for water to heat. Some do a few gentle twists or bends. Some put on a song and just move for 3 minutes. The specific form does not matter. What matters is that you remind your body that it is alive and capable. You tell your brain, "We are moving now. We are doing things." That simple instruction changes your state. You become more present, less in your head, more in your body. And there is a hidden benefit that most people do not think about. When you move early, even gently, you prove to yourself that you can take action. You are not waiting for motivation to strike. You are not waiting for the perfect time. You are acting. And that proof, that small evidence of your own agency, carries into the rest of your day. Think about the alternative. If you wake up and stay still, scrolling or sitting, your energy stays low, your mood stays flat, you feel passive. The day happens to you. But when you move, even for 3 minutes, you shift from passive to active. You are no longer waiting, you are participating. That is a fundamental shift in how you experience your own life. Let's also talk about tension. Most of us carry tension in our bodies without even realizing it. The jaw, the shoulders, the neck, the lower back. We have been holding it for so long that it feels normal. But it is not normal. It is exhausting. Gentle morning movement releases some of that tension. It does not solve everything, but it creates a small opening. You feel a little looser. You breathe a little deeper. Your nervous system gets a signal that it can relax. And when your body is less tense, your mind is less reactive. You respond to stress with more ease. You are less likely to snap at someone or feel overwhelmed by a small problem. One more thing. You do not need a special routine. You do not need to follow a video. You can just listen to what your body wants. Does your neck feel tight? Turn your head side to side a few times. Do your shoulders feel high? Roll them back and down. Do your legs feel heavy? Shake them out. The goal is not to do movement perfectly. The goal is to remind yourself that you are in a body, and that body deserves to feel awake and free before you ask it to carry you through the day. Habit 5. They set one intention. Here is a common experience. You wake up, and before you have even gotten out of bed, your mind is already full. Full of everything you have to do. Full of everything you did not do yesterday. Full of everything you are worried about. The list is long. The weight is there. And by the time you sit down to start working, you already feel behind. That feeling creates a kind of scattered energy. You do a little of this, a little of that. You answer emails. You switch tasks. You feel busy, but at the end of the day, you cannot point to anything meaningful that you moved forward. You were active, but you were not effective. People who navigate their days with more clarity and less exhaustion do something different. They choose one thing. Just one. They do not try to hold 10 priorities in their head at once. They ask themselves a simple question. What is the single thing that if I do it today, will make everything else feel easier or matter less? That one thing becomes their anchor. It is not about ignoring everything else. It is about knowing what matters most. When something asks for their attention, they check. Does this serve my one thing? When they feel pulled in 10 directions, they come back to the one thing. It is not about being rigid. It is about having a compass. Without a compass, you move in whatever direction the wind blows. With one, you move with purpose. There is a quiet freedom in this approach. You do not have to do everything. You do not have to finish the whole list. You just have to move your one thing forward. That is enough. That is progress. And at the end of the day, instead of feeling like you ran in circles, you can look at that one thing and say, I did that. That feeling of meaningful progress is more motivating than any long list ever was. It builds momentum. It builds self-trust. You start to believe that you can actually move the needle on what matters to you. Let's talk about how to choose that one thing. It does not have to be huge. It does not have to take all day. It just has to be the thing that, if everything else went wrong, you would still feel like the day was worthwhile. Sometimes it is work-related. Sometimes it is personal. Calling a family member, going for a walk, finishing something you have been avoiding. The choice is yours. What matters is that you choose. You are not letting the day choose for you. One practical way to do this is to write it down. A piece of paper, a note on your phone, a sticky note on your desk, something you can see. When you write it down, it becomes real. It becomes a commitment. And when you see it during the day, it brings you back. It reminds you what you decided when your mind was clear before the noise took over. That small act, writing one intention, takes 30 seconds, but it can save you hours of scattered effort. Habit 6. They give themselves quiet time. We live in a world that is always speaking. Podcasts, videos, music, conversations, notifications, news, social media. There is almost never a moment of true silence unless we create it. And because silence has become rare, we forget what it offers. When you sit in quiet, no input, no screen, no background noise, your mind starts to settle. Thoughts that were buried begin to surface. Things you were avoiding become visible. Ideas that were blocked find a way through. Problems that felt complicated suddenly seem simpler. People who make better decisions and feel less overwhelmed throughout the day protect this quiet time. They do not treat it as empty time. They treat it as necessary time. 5 minutes, sometimes 10. They sit by a window. They close their eyes. They let their thoughts drift without grabbing onto them. This is not meditation in a strict sense. There is no special posture, no complicated technique. It is simply giving your brain a moment to breathe before you ask it to perform. In that moment, something shifts. You stop feeling like a machine processing input. You start feeling like a person, present in your own life, able to hear your own voice. Here is what most people do not realize. Your brain needs time to process. It needs space to connect dots that you did not even know were there. When you constantly fill every moment with information, waking up to a podcast, driving with music, working with notifications on, you never give it that space. Insights do not come. Clarity does not come. You just move from one piece of input to the next, never stopping long enough to let your mind do its own work. Quiet time is where that work happens. Not because you are doing something special, but because you are finally letting your mind do what it naturally does when it is not being fed constant stimulation. Let's talk about what that clarity looks like. Have you ever had a problem that felt impossible to solve, and then you stepped away, stopped thinking about it, and suddenly the answer appeared? That is your brain processing in the background. It does its best work when you are not forcing it. Morning quiet time creates the conditions for that background processing to happen early. You might not get a big insight every day, but you will often find that after a few minutes of stillness, you feel clearer about what matters. You feel more patient. You feel less reactive. And that feeling stays with you, helping you respond to challenges with more calm than you would have otherwise. One more thing. You do not have to call this meditation. You do not have to do it perfectly. You can just sit. You can just breathe. You can look out the window and let your eyes rest on something natural. A tree, the sky, a plant. You can notice the sounds around you without labeling them. The goal is not to empty your mind. The goal is to give your mind a break from being filled. Even 3 minutes of this, done consistently, changes your baseline stress level. It gives you a small reserve of calm that you can draw from when the day gets demanding. Habit 7. They eat something real. Let's talk about what you put in your body when you first wake up. Not complicated meals, not recipes that take an hour, just real food, something that came from a simple source. An egg, a piece of fruit, a small bowl of oats, yogurt with a few nuts, leftovers from dinner, a banana with peanut butter, something that your great-grandparents would recognize as food. People who keep steady energy and clear thinking throughout the day do not start with sugar. They know what happens when you eat a pastry or sweet cereal. A quick lift, then a drop, then a craving, then another lift. By 10 in the morning, you are fighting to stay focused. Your brain is foggy. Your mood is uneven. You reach for coffee or another sweet thing to feel normal again. That cycle is exhausting, and most people do not even realize they are in it. When you eat something real, you give your body what it needs to run steadily. Protein, fiber, healthy fats, these release energy slowly. Your blood sugar stays even. Your brain stays clear. You are not fighting your own biology to concentrate. You are working with it. This is not about restriction. It is not about eating perfectly. It is about freedom. Freedom from the cycle of craving and crashing. Freedom from feeling foggy and blaming yourself for it. Freedom from being hungry an hour after you ate. Let's go deeper into why this matters for your mind. Your brain uses about 20% of your energy. It is a high-performance organ. When you give it poor fuel, refined sugar, processed carbs, it does not work well. You feel slow. You feel irritable. You feel unmotivated. And then you might blame yourself. You think you are lazy or unfocused. But the problem is not you. The problem is fuel. Your brain is an organ, just like your heart or your lungs. It needs the right nutrients to function. When you give it protein, healthy fats, and complex carbohydrates, it operates at a higher level. You think better. You focus better. You feel better. This is not philosophy. This is biology. There is another layer to this that is often overlooked. When you eat something real in the morning, you are telling yourself that you deserve to function well. You are not grabbing the easiest thing because you are in a rush. You are pausing long enough to give yourself fuel that will actually serve you. That pause, that choice, is a form of respect. And respect repeated over time becomes self-trust. You start to believe that you will take care of yourself. And when you believe that, you stop fighting yourself. You stop making choices that sabotage your own energy. You start cooperating with yourself. That is a much easier way to live. One practical suggestion. If you are not used to eating a real breakfast, Start small. You do not need a full meal. An apple with a handful of nuts, a boiled egg, a piece of toast with avocado. Keep it simple. Keep it real. Notice how you feel 2 hours later. Notice if you are reaching for a snack or if your energy is holding. Those observations will teach you more than any rule ever could. And over time, you will learn what works for your body. That is the goal. Not to follow a formula, but to learn how to fuel yourself in a way that lets you show up as your best self. So here we are, 7 shifts. None of them require you to become a different person overnight. None of them ask for perfection. They ask for something simpler. One small choice, made gently, repeated until it becomes familiar. That is how mornings stop being something you survive and start being something you build, something you look forward to, something that gives you energy instead of taking it. You do not have to do all of them. You do not have to wake up at 5 tomorrow. Just pick one. Maybe it is water before coffee. Maybe it is leaving your phone in another room for the first 15 minutes. Maybe it is sitting quietly for 3 breaths before you stand up. Maybe it is moving your body for a few minutes. Maybe it is choosing one intention, one shift. That is enough. That is where change begins. Notice how it feels. Not because you are judging yourself, but because you are curious. What changes? What gets easier? What do you notice about your energy, your mood, your focus? Those small observations are the things that turn a habit into something lasting. You are not forcing yourself to be disciplined. You are learning what works for you. And that is a different approach entirely. It is kinder. It is more sustainable. And it actually works. You deserve to start your day in a way that feels steady instead of scattered. You deserve to feel like the morning is yours before it becomes everyone else's. That is what these shifts offer. Not a rigid routine, not a list of rules, just a quieter, clearer way to begin. And from a quiet beginning, a lot becomes possible. One choice at a time. One morning at a time. Start tomorrow. Just one small thing. And see where it takes you.